Hey everybody, how you all doing in there? Welcome back to Lucky Tips and Lockdown Love with myself, Mike Parry, here on Lucky Life TV, where I've been promising you some interviews with my life guides and business inspirations for a couple of weeks now. And today, I interview the man behind the Southwest Fall Festival, who's been bringing over 20,000 people every bank holiday weekend in August to the CLAPHAM Common for well over a decade. I think it's closer even to 20 years now. He's also one of the main partners behind the Ibizan Heat experiences, which was one of the first ways that I got to Ibiza to really pop my Ibiza virginity, along with a bunch of my good friends and DJs, as we got to experience these amazing 7-day-long hedonistic clubbing tours over the island. He's also the creator of Lock and Load events, who hosted parties in London for a long time, with everybody from Cox to Nic Fancuilli, Paul van Dyk, Above and Beyond, Soundorom, and many, many more. And since then, he's spent the last 5 years developing a new festival brand across 5 states of Australia, with headliners from Eric Murillo to Eric Prydz, Nick Warren, and some of the best in the industry. He's also been my mate, my personal mentor, my party partner, my crack-on inspiration, and one of my favorite clients to work with and learn from over the years. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to introduce and host an interview with my man, Damian, as I've always known him, Gelle. How are you today, Damo?
I'm good, Mike. It's actually Gelle, by the way.
Gelle, is that how we Gelle? I've always wondered, man. It's a bit like Sebastian Leger.
Yeah. But Dad's family from Mauritius, so it's got that French, that graft to give it the cafe attaché.
Well, you know what? In over 10 years of knowing you, Damo, you've never corrected me. So, Damian Gelle.
Yeah. And I've only just started correcting people because you just I used to get gel, you get that at school, whatever. But yeah, I've just started to correct people. Maybe that's a thing that I've adopted. But anyway, how are you, Mike?
I'm really good, thanks, Damo. It's lovely to catch up with you, man. It's good to see you. It has been longer than normal. I mean, we normally catch up on almost a weekly or a monthly basis, and it's been a good couple of months because, look, there's been a lot going on for me, but there's been a lot going on in Australia. Tell me a bit about what's, the political and natural and disaster fucking
on the world. There's a lot going on in the world, isn't there? Just look, I think obviously there's been an unprecedented global crisis, and it's impacted everyone. So it doesn't matter whether I speak to, I was speaking to a Snake in a DJ friend of ours over in South Africa. I was speaking to a friend in London, and I was speaking to my mum in Perth. Everyone is saying the same thing. Everyone's been impacted by this. It doesn't matter who you speak to at what time. It's all about this new super brand called COVID-19. It's become a super brand, hasn't it?
It absolutely is, man. It's stronger than stronger than Coca-Cola.
Yeah. What a brand. And there was climate change, and now there's COVID-19, and it's affecting everyone in different ways. It's people are seeing benefits from it. People are seeing, absolute chaos from it. And I think that the common thing is that people don't know where it's going to go.
Absolutely,
where it's going to go from here.
I think that's probably the hardest thing for all of us to deal with is that if we know, all right, we've got 6 weeks in quarantine, and then after that, this is going to happen, we can start to plan and prepare our things around that. Yeah. But not knowing is probably one of the hardest things, but something that we just got to learn to embrace in life in general and just go, right, well, then that brings us back to the present moment and what we can do right now. But there's obviously, there's a lot that's led on to this as well in Australia. I mean, you guys, let's say we can go into conspiracy theories of where this might be coming from. There's, COVID-19, like you say, it's a superpower brand. It's having a lot of positive effects and a lot of negative effects. But I think what we really have is just, what's happening in our world, our community. And what I'd like to know, Damo, is what's actually happening for you in Sydney. I mean, how heavy is lockdown for you guys, and how's it affecting you personally?
So I think we're like stage 3, so we're not where the Brits are at. Okay. We can still go out to the shops, but there's not a lot of shops open, of course. But they're enforcing, the people hanging around, social distancing, can't have parties. People are getting fined for stuff like that. But it's not completely militant. But as far as these other cultures are experiencing, with pubs and clubs, and I'm in the entertainment industry, it's just complete shutdown. So those livelihoods, just like airlines, have been decimated. Retail, everyone's been impacted. So that's all gone. So there is everything is online, like we are now. The great tool that the internet is, and pubs, club, that's gone. It's all Netflix. It's all it's all news channels. Yeah, it's like it seems to be an update every day, and I think everyone's experiencing that.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me personally, I'm in lockdown. My house has become my apartment's I've learned to do circuit training, so it's become a gymnasium. Companies that are profiting as I couldn't buy any dumbbells. Dumbbells just went out the window because my gym up the road, my guy that does personal training, and he was put out of work, and suddenly it was like, oh my God, how are we going to do? You just can't do push-ups. Everyone's trying to buy gym equipment, but me and my flatmate have a little circuit going here, and there's a gym in my apartment that's closed, but it goes from push-ups to some dumbbells there to I'd go for a ride in the park. I can still get things done.
Okay, that's cool.
So life is still existing. It's just in isolation. We're just isolated. But from isolation comes a lot of creativity, and I just think that people they're now becoming creative, and they're also finding out about what else they had in their life. Because we're not hitting the stop button. We're hitting the pause button.
I like that.
The pause button is about, well, what are we going to do after this when we do come out of the storm, when we ride it out, what's going to be on the other side? And so I'm just mopping up a lot of things and coming and getting prepared for when I come out the other side. And for me with events, well, that's 2021 now. There's nothing going to happen this year.
No.
I think people are kidding themselves by thinking that anything's going to happen this year. So it's just like, no, 2021. That's what it is. And I've got to make that work somehow.
Yeah.
And so, there's an office. We had an office, and that has to, whether we might be giving that up because we're not going to pay rent on it. There's staff that we can afford to pay for X amount of days to keep a few things rolling. But it's not the accelerator. It's not metal to the floor. It's actually we've pulled the handbrake up.
Yeah.
And so creative-wise, I'm looking at doing things which I've never done before, which I'm writing music.
You're writing music?
Yes, I'm actually making my first tune. So I went from being a promoter, where my business is the opposite of social distancing. It's about bringing people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like what you do with what you do on the internet. You film people. You need people to come together so you can film them and interview them like this. You can still do this part. But we used to go out and interview people in a club or clubs that aren't existing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm the opposite, which is I'm now doing something which is creative, which is making music, and I'm writing again. So stuff I haven't done for a long time. I've never written a track. I'm actually remixing a track from a couple of mates of mine from 15, 20 years ago. So it was great. I just ring up the phone, ring them up and go, can I have your blessing to remix this track? Jump in the studio and remix. It's something I've always wanted to do, and something that's very foreign to me. So I'm doing something that is new, and I've started writing again, which I used to do many, many moons ago. So I've just vowed that whatever I do will be creative. And then I'm also just mopping up all the shit that's around me, which is fucking emails and just, I'm just so shit. My inbox is it's like a teenager's bedroom. You take 2 steps in and 14 steps out. It's just complete devastation. So I'm like when you move house, but no one's moving anywhere because they're in isolation. I'm just mopping stuff up, and I'm just being merciless and just getting rid of crap and just cleaning stuff up and cleaning my room and just making stuff work. And that's what I think this 6 months to a year, whatever it is about. But I've just vowed that whatever I'm going to work on is going to be creative, because that's where I buzz. I only buzz when I do creative stuff. Actually promoting and putting on festivals, there's a percentage of it's creative. For the rest of it, it's just an absolute ball ache and just a lot of stress. And I call it rock climbing without a rope. A lot of financial stress, especially in New South Wales, especially in Australia.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute, which is an authoritarian police shop. They don't like the arts, and it's something that I've campaigned for. They don't like culture in Australia, and I've spoken out about that. I'm not political at all. I'm not a hippie, but I'm not political. But I've actually, spoken. I've been on a couple of. I was on Q&A the other night, and I'm quite vocal on my Facebook about the way this government does not provide for the people for the arts economy, which puts 16 billion. The nighttime economy is worth 16 billion a year.
I think they should really be supporting that. You would think.
Well, I think they'd like that money now, wouldn't they?
It would definitely be helping. Absolutely. In a time in a crisis like this, it would be helping. They can maybe rethink their things moving forward, hopefully, Demo.
Yeah, but rather than, clamping people down and telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Giving personal freedom.
Yeah, coming back into collaboration and seeing how they can allow those things to happen, maybe under their proviso, under their guard or whatever, but at least allowing those things to continue to happen, so that this dance music and nightlife scene and the art scene, which is really, really important for all of us, especially as creatives, and bringing together people, and finding a way for that to continue in a collaboration with the state, who at the moment doesn't want it, but it would make sense for them to actually have it.
No. It's my heart really bleeds for during this period. I might sound really buzzed up and positive, but my heart really bleeds for this because there's a lot of people that are just hurting, which are, within like, it's been a couple of weeks now. Like, it was our Prime Minister just shut down hospitality, and everyone knows that there's like 50% of people in Australia live from one paycheck to the next, have like $1,000 to their name, $1,000, which in Sydney is like a week or 2 weeks, depending on what your living conditions are. So there's a lot of people that have just been turfed and are scrambling. And desperation hasn't kicked in yet. The real desperate part is about to come. Within the next 3 weeks, you'll see it kick in, because a lot of people are not getting paid. I don't think benefits kick in until the start of May, or for JobKeeper, which they have out here, and the Job Seeker, which is, the dole. And people have been, they've been frantic trying to work out how to get that. And so a lot of that's not about to kick in, that desperation. You can already see it with, this Beyond Blue out here, which is because we had the bushfires.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Because you guys have had a lot leading up to this. You didn't just get corona. You've had a lot.
And then we had the good old COVID-19 was in the background of this. And I remember I asked my insurer about this COVID-19, and I kind of got brushed that I shouldn't get it. And I knew I had a good feeling that the festival would happen. And some people did take that insurance out. But the background of all that is that anyone that's in entertainment, that's whether they're touring, they're a supplier, they've got a stage, they serve a drink, they're a roadie, their jobs are gone. They're a performer, that's just done. And so, there's a lot of desperate people out there, and that's a really sad part. The uplifting part, the silver lining part is that if you can survive that and you don't have the Grim Reaper hanging over you, that there isn't death, and touch wood, that doesn't happen to anyone close to me. And there's a lot of people getting hurt out there by that. Make no mistake that there is a lot of there's a lot of people in crisis. Is that you can have a reset, and that's why I call it the pause button, and to look at it, because when in our fucking history has someone just gone pause? But it's never happened. It's never happened. I speak to my mum. She lived with, through a war. She goes, never seen it. Because when there was wars, you just still got up and you went to work.
Yeah, that's the thing. Industry still continued when there was major global worldwide wars. Industry still has to continue, at least as far as it can. Nobody said stop working now, we're at war.
You can argue war brought people together as well. You're huddled in tube stations. This is just about stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
It's just so different. It's so different.
I mean, what's it like when you go to the shops at the moment? When you go and get your groceries and once a week or whatever? Like,
well, you've got to have. So there's queues outside our supermarket up the road, and you've got this distancing. So they make you queue only 400 people around the shop, because you had everyone going there to buy fucking toilet rolls, and everyone's buying toilet rolls and pasta. There's so many other things I'd grab before a toilet roll. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But you just get these conspiracy theories and these, this madness that starts online, and people just, I've got to go and where's that fucking toilet roll? It's just madness. And so now you've got these queues of people, but you get this funny thing where you get into a shop and people are like, they've got a trolley and they're trying to stir around you. And before they said the 400 people in the supermarket, I had this interesting thing that happened the other day where I had my shopping trolley and I just hit a clusterfuck. I call it a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
We were just this standoff. We were just clusterfucks where I guess they probably have them in India, at a set of lights where there's like 1.3 billion people, and there's like, you've got the green walking man, but you just can't move.
Yeah.
I really wonder how countries like that are going to get through this, because this thing's so fucking contagious. How are they going to get through this? We have 1.3. How do you shut down 1.3 billion people? They've got to work. They've got to go and put food in their mouths, because there's such poverty. But we had that where there was just all these shopping trolleys. But you get these people that are just trying to naturally avoid each other. You're trying to, I need that extra half a meter, mate. I'm just
politely, not doing it like not
Yeah.
not making it obvious, but like politely just don't come too near me, please. And you can see the fear, and that's what I try and infuse, is to not let that fear really take control. You're already in a shopping center, like be polite, but not let that fear take you to go, I have to be away from everybody.
Yeah. People are masked up, and they're just, it's all consuming, and so people are getting on because you need the bare necessities. But it's a historic time.
It really is indeed, man. It really is indeed. And for you made Electric Gardens happen just in the nick of time. I mean, if yours had been 1 week later, you would have had to shut it, right?
Yeah, look, it came in. There was Ultra was on 2 weeks after me in days like this, and they got through. But then again, they were massively impacted by the bushfires, the floods. No one here in Festival Lands had it easy. This Lost Paradise didn't happen. Rainbow Serpent didn't happen. Subsonic went down. There's just, there's been festivals. There has not been a good 6 months for festivals because of all this stuff that happened before the old coronavirus came into it. Before we had this fucking coronavirus, that was affecting stuff before they gave it the shutdown. But pretty much when Scott Morrison said that mass gatherings of 500 people, when he knocked that down to I think he went to 1,000 and then 500. But if he'd done that on the Thursday of my festival, when I built the site, paid all the artists, I wouldn't have got any insurance. There wouldn't have been nothing. It just would have been bankruptcy. It wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been able to pay anyone. But then again, you've got ticket companies that are, their share prices are diving now from this. It's just affecting everyone. It's just horrible.
Absolutely, it is in that sense. It's a real knock, man. There's some real, some of the people that I work with here in Ibiza, hotels, some of the retreat spaces, all of the different event promoters, the nightclubs, everything. I mean, I don't even have a clue how they're going to move forward from this. And if you're on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month kind of mentality, you're screwed. This is a really, really heavy and hard thing to really get your head around. If you're on a year-to-year or decade-to-decade kind of mentality, then this is a bump in the road, and we're going to get through this. And even if you're on a week-to-week, we will get through this. We both know very well from life experiences, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We will get through this. We will get more creative. We will get stronger. We will come out on top. Damo, what from you, like, other than what you said, you're making a track. Can I know a little bit more about the track?
Look, I'm not going to tell you who the track's by at the minute.
Okay, cool.
They're from the hard dance scene back in the.
Okay, yeah, nice.
I started doing hard dance parties.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not saying it because I've still got to give the track to them, and they might say, well, look, it's not good enough to be released. It's my first crack at it.
Fair one.
So I've said to them, look, can I have your blessing to? It's a track there's loads of tracks I'm really fond of. And look, at the end of the day, it was about, well, let's use what's around us because you're in isolation. What have I got around me? And it was just about pick up the phone and go, look, can I remix this track? And I have your blessing to do it. And then getting next to someone who I think is a very talented producer that's up and coming, and then getting in there and just grinding it out. Made a start on it. It's blown my mind actually because I've never done it before, and I kind of was going to go into a studio. I've seen people work in a studio, but it's never been my project. But there's a lot to it, and it makes you listen to music differently as well. And it's kind of like when you go from, I was promoted for many, many years before I DJ'd, before I stood up in front of a crowd and went in a nerve-wracking experience of performing. Because as a promoter, I like to be behind the curtain. I really like to be behind the curtain. I like to do a lot of this sort of stuff. I like the show to speak for itself. Action speaks louder than words. I like the vibe to show off the event. And performing is just another art. You're dealing with nerves. It's reacting. You're dealing with, especially when I started, and there was turntables, and there was people leaning over turntables and spilling drinks, and there was distractions. There was people smoking in clubs. There was ash on people dropping ash, and there was a real different vibe from the slick kind of computer software that you've got now. And then this is this in a studio. There's just so many components to a track. It's really opened me up to just the amount, the different combinations that you can have with music, and the different just keys and everything. So I'm just loving it, absolutely loving it.
That's really cool, Damo. I love that you're doing that. I love that you're taking this time to find creativity and also dive into something that you've never done before. Because, I mean, man, your musical knowledge and history must be incredible. I mean, and the number of artists that you must know and have access to. And you've been in so many different sounds of music as well. I mean, I remember you're a lot about hard dance and trance, but I mean, from your festivals and the artists that you've booked from Southwest 4 to the Ibiza scene to all your Electric Garden festivals, I mean, that's a huge different variety of different sounds and artists that you've worked with. So this must be really amazing to then, after knowing all of that and hearing all of that and dancing and partying to all of that and DJing all of that, to now be making one yourself.
Yeah,
I really love it. So,
yeah, absolutely. That's the end goal is that I could produce something which I could give to those guys, and they go, you've done an outstanding job. And then the second part of that would be to actually getting to play it out in a club and seeing a crowd react to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the third part to that, and which some people say is even, well, I've heard DJs say is even more powerful, is when they walk into a club and they hear another artist playing.
That's got to be like.
So they're seeing the crowd, so they're like sitting at the back and just watching the crowd react to it, and watching someone that maybe they admire playing it, which must be such a buzz for a producer or a producer/DJ. But it's exciting. But, just going back to what you said there about that. Look, I might know a lot of people from what I've done in that. I don't think people should let that stop them if they're haven't come through what I've done. Or something they wanted to a track that they wanted to remix. I think they should just jump on the phone or just drop an email and just inquire.
Yeah,
the same as if there's like a book and someone wanted to make it into a film or an article. There's a lot of, like the Mule, the Clint Eastwood film. It's from an article.
The what? Let's say it again.
The Mule by Clint Eastwood, the film.
Yeah.
It's from an article. It's from a piece of journalism. A lot of films are just from a piece of journalism, like a story. And it was written up, and then it gets optioned. And I don't think people should let that stop them. Thinking that they're outside of that circle. They should, make an inquiry and option it.
Amazing. That's super cool. I love that, Damo. Talking about films and writing, you mentioned that you're actually doing some writing at the moment. You haven't done writing in a long time. What sort of writing do you do?
Yeah. Look, I tried my hand at writing some film scripts years and years ago, and I just stuck them in a drawer. I just went, right, just going to ship them away there. Maybe one day I'll release them. Maybe one day I'll give them to someone, or I'll, some of them are uncompleted, or probably not even that good. Need a rewrite, need a rework. And I thought I'll get back into, because I used to get a real buzz from that, but I thought I'd go to a different format, and I'm going to start writing some short stories. They might become long stories.
Yeah.
I've started writing a something in that kind of format, which is short stories. So that's and it's fiction as well. So it's kind of a bit of a splice it splices in with what's going on now, with what's happening.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm enjoying that. And so I just vowed that, look, I've got this time. If I'm going to spend time on something, it's going to be creative. It has to be. The only thing that's going to get us out of this is our creativity.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, without a doubt, Damo. Well, I'm loving that, man, and I can't wait to hear the track. I hope I get first dibs on having a little listen there. So before it gets out, you let me have a little listen. I won't share it. I promise. I'll keep it just for my ears, like he is. And send us the script as well. Maybe we can make a Lucky Life movie about it all. And Damo, look, you've given some really cool advice and ideas in terms of what you're doing. Like you say, you're making your home a little workout circuit in your home. You still get to go for a cycle, which is really cool. I do the same. I've got a farm about 300 to 400, maybe 500 meters down the road from my house. It's just next door to DC10. It's actually DC10's farm. And once a week, I take my organic refuse Like, I don't throw it in a bin, right? I can't throw it in a packet and put it in a bin. I put it into a big jar. And then once a week, I take my bike and I cycle down to the farm and I go and throw it all in their compost heap. And I get to hang out with their pigs and their chickens for a little while and, get a little in touch with nature again and then cycle back. Although every time I do get stopped by the police and Guardia Civil and they're like, right, what are you doing? What are you doing out in public? And I'm like, taking my refuse. And they're like, okay, go home then. But for you, do you have any extra tips and advice for people on what they can do? You're getting a home gym, you're staying creative, you're connecting with people online. And I mean, any deep tips from your industry, from working in the music industry, the big festival industry? I mean, what can we do?
Look, I just think having a good routine, just have a good routine. Have a good routine. Yeah. I love routine, and I don't really like to stray too far from it, and being productive. What I realized the other day was that I don't really stand still for too long. I'm in a kind of in a bad way as well. Like I'm always doing something, and so what I'm doing now is just slowing things down. So I'm having longer conversations with people. I'm taking time out for people that I haven't spoken to in a long time and connecting with them like this, which is good. And I think that everyone's got that one person that I'm going to catch up with them. I'm going to catch up with them. I'm going to catch up. And they don't. So they don't catch up with them.
Yeah.
And just building, the relationships that really matter. And the people that are really close around you. But the ones that are out there that, I'd really like to catch up with that person. Why don't you do it? Yeah, you can still do stuff.
Absolutely.
Or you're not doing something, do something else. And healthy well-being and good sleep and all of that. And it's really rocking for me. I'm enjoying it.
Wicked, man. Good on you, Damo. Well, I love that. And it's a really key and quality advice. And I'm really grateful that when I reached out to you and I was like, Damo, man, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I mean, we didn't even normally we're in touch freaking 100 times a day during January and February to do all the Electric Gardens filming. And this time you had your local crew. I was busy with some projects over here and in Austria. So we really didn't connect like normal. And I was just like, man, you've been on my mind a lot. And so I reached out to you and you were just like, yeah, man, let's do it. And that's the cool thing about right now is I could reach out and say, what, man, I need to speak to you, Damon. You're like, yeah, we got time. Like now when we got time. So let's do that. So it's really about making the good use of that time. Let's tip on something maybe a little bit sad or a little bit reality. What are you missing the most about life before lockdown?
Missing the most,
if anything,
on a family level. Yeah. On a family level, it'd be taking my boy down the beach. That's a real special moment for us, which we do on weekends here. I'm from life before. Do you know what? I'm not actually missing the festival part of it. That's I'm not looking at this and going, when this is all over, there's just going to be this massive festival, because there's not going to be. I actually think that the most fun moment after this is going to be going down the pub, my local pub, with 8 to 10 of your best mates. I've got a big social. I'm really fortunate. I've got a lot of really good friends. I think it could be 4 to 6 or 6 to 8, whatever. Just your best friends. It's not going to be about going to a club. I'm not going to want that. I'm going to want to actually shake a hand, hug a mate.
Yeah.
And tell a funny story about this period. Tell about how, we're just going to, that laughter, that bonding, and being in your local noisy pub and drinking beer from the tap. I think that the pubs are the ones that survive, of course. They're the ones that bounce back socially.
Yeah,
there's just going to be about the connecting, about the being with people, that connection here, which this doesn't give. We can get a lot from this. And now we've got there's all these apps that are coming out, like this house party and Zoom, where you've got your full, you can get some of that, but the actual, just like with live music, there's live friendship, and that's what's going to be the connector when we come back. That's going to be the magic.
Absolutely, man. I agree with you 100% there, Damo, in a big, big way, man. Before I go on to the last question, which I was going to go on to, you've ticked onto something really big there. You're saying that, these small, closer connections are going to be what's going to count. And I know that I'm getting a lot of messages from our friends just saying, man, I can't wait for a hug. I can't wait. I wish we could just, you and me, get together and have a dinner together, or, a few of us go and watch the sunset together and a few of those sort of things. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen for major dance music festivals and live music concerts and all of that. I mean, you know, the Ibiza clubs with 6,000 to 8,000 people in it one night. I mean, what's your general feeling on that?
Well, I don't think, I think that 2021's a write-off. I just don't think anything's going to, I don't think
2020, 2021?
2021 could maybe even into, could even be halfway through, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, with a miracle, maybe some things might start firing up in January, Feb. But you know, the Australian Open's looking at doing different things, and you know, Wimbledon's looking. You know, I mean, I think everything's going to change. I mean, because unless there's a vaccine found, there's no one's going to fly and have 2 weeks. No artist's going to fly and have 2 weeks isolation and then get 2 weeks on the other end.
No.
And who's going to let this back in the back door again? No one's going to let it back door again. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talk about the potential of a second wave with these sort of things, and they really want to protect against that. You know, even yeah,
the next brand.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah,
to come through. So you know, it's no government's going to write this stimulus check for how many billion, and then we're just going to let it in the back door again. Or you have an event that comes in through your guest list queue, and someone's running around with, and they've started it up again. I mean, you'd have to kill it in a way that you pick up a pill from the pharmacy that's like a Nurofen, or the old herd immunity picks up, that it's no longer it's just a sniffle of the nose. You can't let this thing out of the fucking lab again. Well, wherever it came from, whatever it is. You know,
I mean, for Ibiza as well, if we manage to, let's just say that in a couple of weeks' time, our lockdown is done and we can see that numbers are completely down, there's no more deaths, there's no more cases growing in Ibiza, and then we say, okay, cool, we're good. So then lockdown's still not going to go from lockdown to unlocked. You know, we're going to have to take it step by step to slowly release it. Okay, it's, you know, small numbers, 2 to 3 people together, no major events, no more than 50 people together, then 150 people together. I mean, it's going to take a long time before anyone will say that you can have 1,000 people in one space. And once we're even at that point, who's going to say that borders are open for people from anywhere around the world to just come in and then possibly infect that and change that again? So it's a real up in the air what the hell is going to go on. But I'm loving speaking to people like you that are, you know, we're all getting hit here, Damo. We're all getting financially hit. We're all getting hit in certain ways where we can't get to our families, you know, weddings, events, personal events, birthdays. See, these sort of things can't happen, but we're finding the positive in this. We're getting back to the creative. We're returning to our essence in certain ways of family living and you know, and making use of technology and the way that we can keep connected like this. So big ups to you and good on you for how you're staying creative and you know, going back to those things that really spark up your energy and make you feel good inside, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my life's a small part, and we're just cosmic dust. You know, it's insignificant really to what's going on out there. But as a whole, you know, look, I don't know. That's why this thing is so fascinating, because no one knows where it's going to go next. There's that why question. Every time I turn on the TV, there's another medical conference. There's, you know, and then again, there might be some gig laboratory in northern Queensland might invent a cure and everyone might be back out there in 6 months. But, you know, you'd like to think that, well, what is this thing going to teach us? What's the lesson? And, you know, I hope that it could be the governments go, you know what, we should have spent all that fucking money on weapons, because this COVID-19 is the greatest weapon. You can't beat that. Tell that to Boris Johnson. Why are we spending all this fucking money on weapons? We're not protecting ourselves against bugs.
No,
it's just crazy.
Yeah, true.
There's not this, you know, the world just can't get along. Look, we'll never fucking get along. We know that. But that there can't be, the misappropriation of funds is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So we're not prepared for something like this. That, you know, look at New York. They're getting shut down. They're getting masks from China. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. And
it really is, man.
It's affected everyone. And, you know, Bill Gates, he came out with it, didn't he? You know, there's quite a few people who predicted this thing, that this thing was going to, Hollywood movies. And they often, what we see in film often ends up happening.
Absolutely. In a very big way, man. In a big way.
You know, and I don't know whether we're in the Matrix or whether we are a simulation, and maybe this is just a virus in our computer. But do you know what? It's a pretty damning one. You know, I do truly believe it is a pause, and we will come out the other side. But we don't need another one to come in. So something needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Something needs to be done in a lot of ways, man. Like we were saying before, we've spoken a lot about the potentials of, plant medicines or alternative healing ceremonies and stuff like this, and it feels like, on some sense, for those people that do know what we're talking about here, that this is some kind of a global ayahuasca ceremony or a global healing session where some people are finding the best ways and enjoying it. Some people are dancing through it. Some people are crying through it. Some people are really hurting through it. Some people are having to give up addictions or not see somebody that they really love, and it's in the long run, like we say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. We're going to come out as a new race. We're going to come out as a new person, individually and collectively. I really see something amazing for how we're going to come out of this, whether it's in 3 weeks, 6 months, or however long it's going to take. But
it just affects everyone, doesn't it? It's affected everyone. It's not like say a war in the Middle East, and you watch on TV and you go, oh yeah, that looks pretty grim over there. No, this is everywhere. It's affecting every person.
Everyone, yeah,
being affected, but not every person is being affected like they're in war. And there's people that are suffering. And there's people that are. It's opening up things for them, and they're looking at it and they're going, my life was pretty fucked before. I was just in the grind, and I've stopped and I thought, well, that's not important. That's important. That's not important.
Yeah.
People are having there's the consciousness that's going on here, but where that ends up and how that affects people, it's all very different to everyone. It's like the way they said 9/11.
Yeah,
it changed the world forever. A summer in his training from the CIA, and it changed how we went to airports. But this thing's magnified, just the power of 1,000. It's to a million. It's just like that. Stones, a pillar has been dropped in a pond. The ripple effect of this.
Can you just say that last part again?
Oh, just the ripple effect of this powder that's being dropped in to the pond, how it's affecting people. But there's people that are benefiting from this. There's opportunists that are benefiting from it financially. There's people that are crumbling from it. It's just everyone's experience is different. People are up, they're down. But people are getting to pause. They get to pause. You don't get to pause. I just think there was a lot of greed. There's a hell of a lot of greed, especially in my industry. So much greed.
Yeah.
It fucking lost itself. It just lost itself. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
How people are speaking to people.
Yeah.
There was just no compassion out there whatsoever. It really wasn't. It was crazy.
I can agree with
that if we can just breathe that in, but there's still the part of me that thinks that it will just go back to the way it was afterwards, which I think there's a certain amount that'll just slip back in the human nature. But I'm hoping that pause, that we can reflect, and that companies operate in different ways. People work from home. People have more for their families.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. There's certain people very, very close to me that normally travel an hour to work, not very close to me geographically, like very close in my life, normally travel an hour to work and an hour back, work in a big office, see their children and their partner for maybe 1 hour a day or half an hour a day. They've got people to look after their house, look after their garden, and now they're staying at home. And they're working at home. And, a lot of friends of mine, I was speaking to a girlfriend of mine in Germany the other day, and she did sales for a major corporation, and she's now working from home, which means you can wake up in the morning, give yourself a stretch, do a bit of yoga if that's what you're into, have yourself a cup of coffee and a breakfast, and then keep your slippers on while you sit online and do just as good work, if not even maybe better, because you're in your good environment. You're not having to travel on a tube for an hour or on a train for an hour, and you're not having to change your environment to then go and sit in an office with 100 people around you. And so I think there's some real gold that could come from that if we're open to it. And Damo, do you not think that as the people, like for me, I really feel that it's not what I'm doing at the moment is finding a way to be once this is over, so that I don't wait for society or the governor, should we say, to tell us how it's going to be. So for us as a community to come together like we're doing now, to open up conversation and try and find, well, we're not going to go back to how it was, because how it was not good for us. It's not holistic. It's not working for us. It's making us old and sick and greedy. So it's up to us, really, I'd say, and I wanted to get your take on that, of how we actually move this forward together as a community.
Well, I think it has to happen, from individuals to companies to governments. It's the only way it can happen, really.
Yeah. Yes.
I think there'll be an awakening from this, because even if you had a crap job, you can get to a point where you go, do you know what? I love that crap job. I love having that job, just to appreciate that, to appreciate even that human interaction that you have. It's just, I just think on every level, there'll be some kind of awareness and awakening to what we had before, the good and the bad.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. Damo, you might have already answered my last question. It's question number 7, the lucky one, obviously. And we've spoken, a lot about the past and how things have been and what's led up to this. We've also spoken about where we are right now, what we're dealing with, what we've got to work with in our space and around us and connected to us through the internet. But moving forward, and on a positive note for me, what would you say is the biggest positive? You might have already answered this, but let's just go deeper into it. What would you say is the biggest positive that you can see coming out of this? Whether it's for you personally, for your home country, for your industry as dance music, or just for the world in general? What's one real key positive that you can see coming out of this?
Okay, well, look, I'm going to bring this back to my industry, right?
Yeah, so cool.
The only kind of, it's a little bit like the streets are dead, there's no traffic. It reminds me a little bit like that Christmas period when everyone goes away.
Yeah.
And without the giving of presents and the joy that Christmas brings, well, that period as a promoter, I'm always working. I never really get to it. I've always got a show on, there's an event New Year's Eve, or I'm always like, oh, I've got to sell the tickets and blah, blah, blah. I'd love to see a month of this. I'd love to see the world just switch off for a month every year.
Yeah.
Just switch off for a month. Switch the fuck off and just worry about what the real essence of life, the family, your friends, the economy can fucking wait.
Absolutely.
Let it wait. Give the fucking, especially healthy governments, give some wages out. Australia's had 20 years of prosperity. We'll get through this. Other countries where, that are not so fortunate, help them out of something. To be able to have a month off where you can just be with family and just close people. We've been able to hit the pause button to appreciate what we had. And I just think that there's something there. I don't know where it's going to go, Mike. I don't know where it is, but I know we're going to appreciate what we had before more than what we had.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, Dame. I really love that, man. There was I did a little video a while ago with me and one of my Indian head masks sitting out here, appreciating how quiet it was and how silent it was. I live on the road to Salinas, one of the most beautiful and popular beaches of the island, as well as there's Caveat and Cap Falco. And so this road is normally non-stop, even all through the winter, because it's popular for the locals as well. Plus, I've got the airport over there, and flights every 2 minutes at least. And I've gone out and just seen how good it is and how amazing it is and quiet it is. And I'm not saying we can live like this, because we need to travel. We live these global lives, and it's amazing. And I love to live a global life. But when I posted that video, I had some really cool messages back from people saying, I thought maybe we can do this once a week, or people were saying maybe 2 weeks a year. So to maybe come to some kind of an agreement where, and if you're preparing for lockdown, if you're preparing for shutdown every year, you just know that like Christmas, you're about to spend a shit ton of money on presents that mean nothing. Instead, we're about to lock down for a month where nobody's traveling, certain businesses aren't working, only the essentials are in operation, and we're all going to kick back and relax and create and do what we want. You then budget for that, and you prepare for that. Let's call it the 13th month of the year or something. I think that is one of the greatest ideas that could come from this. And that way the earth recovers, the air recovers, we recover, and industry recovers, and it gives everyone a chance. I mean, imagine some of the artists that are traveling, like, everyone wants to be a world famous DJ, but really, do you? You don't stop all year round. I mean, the number of shows, hundreds of shows that they do each year, to even let those people stop, everyone. And so, yeah, I'm in big agreement with you on that one. And I really like that as a positive that can come out of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Well, Damo, it's been a real pleasure to catch up with you and speak to you after all this time. Big ups to you for managing to pull off the Electric Gardens 5th edition, 5 years strong, man.
Yeah,
let's give it a high five.
Yeah, there we go.
I really look forward to hearing the tracks and reading the scripts that come out of this, and just keeping in touch and knowing what comes out of the Damian Gelle
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the interview, and thanks for all the help that you've given me over the years. And keep living the lucky life. Keep pushing forward and putting your word out there, mate. Just keep being you. That's all I can say, mate.
Thanks, brother, and the same to you, man. And thanks for having these words of wisdom for my audience of the lucky ones out there. So thanks everyone for joining, and remember to catch us next time. We've got some really great interviews coming up, so stay tuned to Lucky Life and Mike Perry Ibiza because we got some more coming. Big love to all of you. Take care, everyone. Ciao.